Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. One of our topics we're going to discuss on our podcast this week is retirement havens. Came to mind from our travel expert, Onanta Forbes, who has just returned from her adventures in Central America. And while she was there, she discovered a number of expats in the areas of Panama and Colombia. So in a few moments, she'll join us to talk about some of those retirement havens. Plus, travel writer Jennifer Merrick will join us to share her experience at the Wienhotel Freylich Zahn in Germany. And as the name suggests, wine is involved, so it's got to be good. And Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions will be along to give us a few destination ideas and travel deals with our weekly roundup. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the travel news and travel trends. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Hi, Onanta. Welcome back.
It's good to be home. Always good to come back.
Well, one of the things from your adventures that came to mind that we discussed was retirement havens. And I know that one of your stops was Panama. That's one of the, it seems to me that's one of the popular areas for retirement havens. But what came to mind when you were in Panama when you thought of this idea for a topic?
Because the area that we were in was Boquete, and it's considered quite a very attractive place and location for retirees. And when you're thinking about why should you retire in Panama, the beautiful beaches, the island getaways, colonial towns, and just the coastline. Where we weren't far from Costa Rica, another popular spot. For Panama, it's actually, as I said, one of the fastest growing countries for this market. So another place other than Boquete was Chitra. Chitra. It's a very safe, community-minded town, 4 hours from Panama, located on the interior of the country. So it's good that it can offer you abundance of casinos, banks, grocery stores, hardware stores, everything you want when you're living at a destination, along with the expat community and one of the most affordable places in Panama, including the cost of beachfront property. Also nearby, another country that we visited in our last trip was Colombia. And that's quietly becoming one of the world's top overseas havens. And, they mention from Bogota to Medellin to Cartagena, all are drawn, like as far as expats, to the culture, the low cost of living, as well as a high quality of life. And it's supposed to be one of the easiest places in the world to establish residency. So no lawyers required, and the process can be done in a couple of hours. Infrastructure is strong across the country, and the standard of healthcare is high. So they have a lot of people are definitely considering healthcare as one of their major reasons of where they're going to retire. So consider that as well. A place that is known to maybe attract some retirees is Santa Marta, and it's a preferred vacation destination from locals, but it's also great because of the weather, excellent beach and water activities like boating, snorkeling, diving. Also, it's got some good mountain-based activities, mountain hiking and trekking and biking. So favored for its affordability, perpetually warm weather, and warm Caribbean waters. So it's among one of the best places to retire. One that comes up often is Thailand. Beautiful people, beautiful beaches. It's known for being a global medical tourism destination. So that speaks to high standards and affordability to private medical facilities. Lots of expats here, access to fresh, healthy, delicious Thai cuisine. And then you could be, as laid back or adventurous as you want. So it offers you the opportunity for different kinds of lifestyles. Phuket is the biggest island in Thailand, and it's one of the places that attract an expat community. Actually, right now it's around 115,000. wellness is a big trend in Phuket, so particularly massage and yoga, breathing, meditation, and mindfulness. So golf too is a great pastime here. So lots to keep you busy outdoors. Um, Another destination that you might want to consider is Belize. English is the official language of Belize. WestJet has been having nonstop direct flights, so it's nice to be able to just have easy access to a destination from home. If you have to come back in a hurry or just want that accessibility. I guess it has one of the best retirement residency programs. It's called the Qualified Retirement Program. It's a visa. You can apply for it if you're 40 years and up. Why would you retire there? It's the weather really drew me. The water. Again, the opportunity for our currency to be well established against theirs, like as far as you get good dollar for value with our Canadian dollar against their currency. An area of interest could be the KO district. It's part of the mainland. It's full of rivers and rainforests and has great little small town and villages. And it's good for nature lovers if you're interested in exploring rivers and caves, as well as different nature reserves. So lots of opportunity for both private development there too, if you want to buy property as well.
Well, lots of choices. It seems while you're doing that, I was just on the One Travel website, onetravel.com, 7 best places to retire within the world. And you mentioned, I think, 5 of the 7, Panama, Colombia, Thailand. They also mentioned Mexico. And I know that a few months back, you were in the Bucharest area, Sayulita. I was there last November. That is a big area for expats as well. But the thing about Mexico, and I want to talk a little bit too about the healthcare, but the thing about Mexico is in some areas, because it's been established for retirees, now it's getting a little bit more expensive.
Oh yes, and I've definitely seen that. We went to Bucharest for like about 3 years ago, and then we went back to the same area this past couple of months, and you could definitely see the difference in pricing, like groceries, and it's not the Mexico of old where it was just a cheap lifestyle. It's definitely reflecting the increased strength of the Mexican peso. So against the
Mm-hmm.
Canadian dollar, you
Mm-hmm.
can see that you're not going to save as much while you're there. And whether you rent or purchase, there's still a cost attached to that. It's not as cheap as what we've seen, pre-pandemic. Let's put it that way.
And the one big thing that always comes up top of mind is healthcare, and the standard of healthcare in all of those places is very good.
Right. And, medical tourism seems to be like a really fast growing industry. And the example you give of Mexico is exactly that. There's so many people I hear, going over to take care of their dental concerns or getting a hip replaced or a knee replaced, because they can get in very easily. It's affordable. And many, as a result, many of the doctors there may even come from the US or Canada, if not, and speak English fluently. So you always have to do your research because your health is very important.
Well, then, yeah, doing the research is probably the best key. And there's a lot of expats groups out there. I guess if you just Googled that or went on Facebook, there's a ton of them around. And you just pick the destination where there's expats, and they have some sort of group together where you can ask questions and find out what it is. And I think it's even easier than ever. And I've said this before: you don't have to fork out hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy a place or become a resident. You can just rent a spot for a few months, go to one other spot for a few months, and if you like it and decide to buy, well, that's your choice. But really, the options out there are more than ever.
I think that's a wonderful way to approach retirement, is not, limit yourself to just one destination and one culture. The world's big and it's changing, so it's best, to go out and experience it while you can. And there's so many opportunities for, as you say, like VRBOs or Airbnbs, to enjoy the destination, see if you like it. if you want to come back and explore it more or continue on to a different place. There's lots of places that we haven't even covered that are really popular for retirement, like Portugal or Spain, in Europe. So yeah, why limit yourself?
And one option that just popped to mind, though, because I'm a cruise person, is to go on a world cruise for 100 and some days. You got everything right there for you. If you're worried about healthcare, you've got around the clock healthcare waiting for you there, and you get to see the whole world. It's a cool option as well.
Oh yeah, very popular choice for people. The crew becomes their family. You don't have to do your laundry. Like, you can just isn't that the cat, like the biggest draw ever? You don't have to make,
No
do,
cooking, no cleaning.
yes, no cleaning. Yeah. So, yeah, cruising is huge. And it's, there's so many cruise lines out there right now with very competitive offers that it's definitely a lifestyle option to consider.
And even we didn't even define retirement because people can be semi-retired, still working a little bit, but they can work anywhere in the world now. And so even that's an option if that's what you want to look for. If you want to escape the cold and spend a few months someplace away and still do your job like you did in Mexico over the winter, that's still an option too. So many options out there.
With technology, working remotely is getting easier and easier. Definitely, you have to do your research to find out the best way to do it and the most efficient way. But nice way to keep in contact with your clients. And they don't even really know where you are, at times. Not that you're hiding the fact, but it's that easy. The only thing that you really do have to consider is time zone factors.
Mm-hmm. Onanta Forbes is a travel expert. You can follow all of her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Good stuff, Onanta. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good week.
I always thought if a hotel specializes in wine, that would be a bonus attraction. And there's one such hotel located in Germany. There's probably a lot of them. But the one we're going to talk about today is called the Weinhotel Freylich Zahn. So joining us now to share her experience staying there recently is travel writer and travel journalist Jennifer Merrick. You can read about it at Bold Traveler magazine. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Randy. You pronounce that much better than I would, so thank you very much.
Weinhotel Freylich Zahn. What took you to Weinhotel Freylich Zahn? Is it the first time to Germany for you?
It wasn't the first time to Germany, but it was the first time in that part of Germany. So we were in the Saxony-Anhalt area, which is sort of the western part of the former Eastern Germany, if that makes any sense. So about 3 hours south of Berlin.
Nice. Now, you being a travel writer and journalist, was this a personal trip, a media trip? Were you wined and dined by the hotel as a media person, or was it something else?
Well, this was part of a media trip, but it was hosted by the German Tourism Board. So they didn't only take us to this wine hotel, they took us throughout the region. And this was one of the places that I remember the most.
And why is that? Because it has wine, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a fan of wine. And as soon as I came into the door, I saw a sign, no smoking, drink wine. So, that was a good start. I thought that's nice of them to encourage it. And it was just a beautiful hotel in that it was an old granary. So it was about 300 years old. Yet it was recently built in about 2019. So everything was very modern. So a very nice combination between the two.
And what were the rooms like? Like it's a big hotel, like compared to some of the big resorts that we have around the world.
No, it was I want to say probably about 60 rooms, so not that big, and very nicely decorated in terms of like that modern decor, and everything was sort of dedicated to wine. There was pillows with drink wine on it. There was a wine fridge, and you might think if you go into the hotel, it would be a mini bar, right? But it wasn't a mini bar. It was actually only filled with wine. So no water, no beer, nothing else but a selection of local wines. And there was also downstairs, there was a wine bar, except it was entirely automated. And so with your room key, you could actually purchase wine. And you could, for example, just if you wanted to try local wine, you could purchase 2 ounces and it would pour out 2 ounces. It was all on tap. And so it was an interesting way to try out some of the local wines.
That is an interesting way. So tell me about the area. Did you mentioned you got a chance to tour around the area? What impressed you most about that?
hmm There were a lot of things. Well, first of all, where this hotel is in the little town of Freylich. I hope I'm saying that right. And it's a beautiful town in terms of there's a huge castle, Nuremberg Castle. The vineyards itself are really interesting because they're set in limestone, very, very steep limestone. So the wine region is the northernmost region in Germany. And it's actually at 51 degrees latitude. And that's the same latitude as, for example, Calgary. So you think that it may be too cold for wine.
Mm-hmm.
But because of a microclimate with the two rivers that it intersects, and the fact that the limestone itself gives off heat. And so you have these wineries that are just perched on top of these cliffs that are all benches of limestone. And so it's super pretty to be sitting, with a view of a castle, the river, the beautiful vineyard in these places. It was incredibly beautiful.
Very nice. Is it easy to get around? Like, is it one of those places where you'd want to rent a car, or is there transportation that you can take if you didn't want to have that option?
That's a very good question. I would, if I were to go back again, we drove and went to several different places. But if I were to go back again, I would definitely rent a bicycle because there are wonderful path system around this area. And you, for example, can go from Freilich, place where the hotel is, the Weinhotel, and you could actually ride a bike to Nürnberg. And Nürnberg is another place that you have to visit if you're in the area. It has the Nürnberg Cathedral, which is a gorgeous cathedral that has a lot of interesting things. It's the oldest chained library in the country. There's also a statue of Uta, and she was the inspiration for the evil queen in Snow White. And the cathedral itself is just a marvel of architecture. So you could actually bike from Freilich to Nürnberg, and I think that would be the ideal way to travel in the area.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like there's lots of history. I guess, well, being in Germany, there's lots of history anyway, but it seems like there's, historic buildings and other sites.
Absolutely. And I think this area is lesser known. I think because it was part, behind the Iron Curtain for so many years. And even though now, it's been open for over 30 years, it's still a place that's not as discovered as other parts of Germany. So I think there's so much for travelers in that way. There was also the Harz Mountains, which, everyone knows the Alps, but I had no idea about the Harz Mountains. And that was a beautiful place to visit and go hiking up in the top. And there's a little, steam train that takes you up to the top to go hiking there. And there were also really interesting stories as well, fairy tales, witches, and legends that these mountains and boulders that are around the place are famous for. And so that was fascinating as well, and certainly something I had no idea of before I went.
Mm-hmm. And just getting there, you mentioned it's not far from Berlin. I would imagine you would fly into Berlin, or how would you get there from North America, for example?
Yeah, you could absolutely fly into Berlin and take a train. And we also went into Leipzig, which is a little bit closer. But as you know, Germany has a fantastic train system. So once you arrived in any of the centers, it would be easy to go by train. And in fact, we went from Leipzig to Dessau, which is close by train. And Dessau is very interesting as well. And again, like I was saying in Freilich, there's an amazing bike network and trail network that you can go.
Getting back to the hotel now, the Wienhotel Freylich Zahn, what were the rooms like?
They were very comfortable, very modern, very nicely done. So every detail was thought of. And, sometimes, when you stay in a historic place, that's not always the case. And I think because even though it's in a historic building, having been built recently has all the modern comforts and all those touches. So very contemporary, but I would say like a warm contemporary. So sometimes modern can be too cold, but this was not the case. It was modern, but there's a lot of little touches as well, just, some beautiful maybe ceramics, Eastern teapot. There's, very nicely done. The beds were super comfortable. And I also want to mention the restaurant. They have a cellar, which is it's kind of like it's not an original wine cellar, but it's made to look like a wine cellar, and very, very cozy, very, very nice. And the food there is phenomenal. Sometimes in Germany, sometimes I find the food is a little bit heavy, a little bit too rich for my own taste. And this was very international and very diverse, and every dish, was paired with a wine, and there was a wide variety on the menu that could appeal to a lot of people, and a really fantastic place for a meal.
See, you beat me to it. I was going to ask about the food and what food that you liked the best, and what wine did you like the best?
Well, wine, there was a lot of choice, as you can imagine in a wine hotel. But I am partial to sparkling, and they have actually their best seller, the most exported wine that they have is a sparkling. So that was my favorite. It was a cool, crisp sparkling wine.
So now if you went back again, like what did you miss that you didn't get a chance to see that if you went back again, for sure you would see? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I would just spend more time. I mean, because we were seeing so many different parts of the Saxony-Anhalt, and there were some wonderful places to see, we didn't spend as much time in each of those places. So instead of spending, a day and a night, I would spend a few days in that area, and I would travel more slowly. Again, maybe take those bicycles, visit more towns. The town of Nürnberg, I mean, that was gorgeous town. They had these like small trams, the Eastern European trams that almost look historic, and it was surprising to see that they actually still use them there. They were the cutest little trams. So I would take a tram ride in Nürnberg and just spend more time in the area.
Very nice. Anything else you want to add?
I just want to say that, I think it's always worth getting off the beaten track a little bit, and, going to destinations that are not as well known has a lot of advantage. Even, for example, price. I wanted to mention, like, the price of that wine hotel was something like 160 Canadian, and that is very reasonable for what you get. I mean, I think that if that same wine hotel was to be almost anywhere else, it would be easily double that.
Well, people can read all about it. You've broken it down nicely in your article, things you need to know and all those things. Weinhotel Freylich Zahn, Germany, and you can find it on the Bold Traveler website, boldtraveler.ca. It was great chatting with you, Jennifer. Also, you can follow Jennifer Merrick, Jennifer Merrick 3 on Instagram, and Jennifer Merrick is travel writer and travel journalist. Thanks for doing this, Jennifer. Appreciate it.
Dankeschön, Randy.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me too with any questions or show ideas you might have. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you want to get up-to-date travel info through the week or just see a few amusing travel stories and links, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/informedtraveler. You can also follow me on Instagram at Informed Traveler or on X at Informed Traveler. So now, as always, we'd like to end the show with our weekly roundup, and joining us to do that is Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions. Good day, sir.
Hello, Randy. Hello, everybody, and happy Father's Day to you, to me, and all the other fathers out there that are listening this weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're getting a few treats and spoiled a little bit, or even if that means just being able to watch golf on the TV with nobody bothering you this weekend.
Yeah, whatever it is, I hope you enjoy it. Indeed. Happy Father's Day. How was your week?
We actually had a meeting with Peter from Riverside River Cruises this week. And they're a newer line sailing from in the rivers over in Europe, and they only have 3 ships. But again, they're a little bit higher end. So if you're a Silver Sea, Seabourn, Regent, one of the other luxury ocean lines that you've sailed as a past passenger, then Riverside is definitely one that you should consider. Again, during the conversation, their theme is the company that owns them, the parent company is a family, and they actually own Seaside Hotels, which are luxury hotels over in Europe.
Okay.
And their designs were that the ship itself is really a hotel that floats on the water. So they've one of the ships they have is actually twice the size, the Sails on the Danube width-wise, than all the other ones like Uniworld, Viking, and all the rest of them. So there's a ton of space, larger rooms, everything like that. They've got 5 dining options on the ship. And again, they're more like the actual restaurants where, it's like, okay, not between 9 and 11 is, breakfast, and then 12 to 2 is lunch. You can go sit down anytime you want, order, going to get looked after.
Oh, cool.
The other things too, all your beverages are included. So, and again, if your drink of choice is champagne, you can have champagne the whole cruise, not just the bottle that you get in your room. And the Mozart is the name of the ship, the Sails on the Danube. Like I say, twice size, there's just so much more room. Excursions are all included, and a bit different than usual excursions, like on the Viking. They're smaller, a little more intimate, but still catching all the main highlights. But again, not at set times or anything like that. And if you're independent and you want to explore on your own, you're more than welcome to do that. So basically, it's all inclusive on the ship. But the cool thing about that too is with them, you can pick and choose to suit your needs. So I've got a client who doesn't drink. So if he doesn't want the beverage package, or maybe only wanted it for a couple of days for his wife for wine and everything like that, that's what we do. That's the way we set it up.
Nice.
Same with excursions. If you don't want to do excursions every day and you're going to do a few days on your own and everything, you set up the days that you want the excursions. No problem. So you can customize to your heart's content, and they have choices of 3, 4, 5, 10-day sailings. And again, all the gratuities are always included in the pricing. And I peeked at some of the pricing, and the pricing is actually really pretty good.
So this is
right
one
now
of
they
those
get 10% off for your first booking.
This is one of those examples of looking at value rather than the dollar.
Exactly, because by the time you add in your excursions, and if you're paying for upscale beverage package on some of the other guys and everything like that.
Well, even gratuities, or more. Even the gratuities. Yeah, if you're, that's what I mean. So this is one of those things where you want to look at the value for your dollar, not just the dollar figure.
Good point. And speaking of the luxury guys, Regent Cruises has got 2 exciting itineraries, sailing the island of Japan, and then you're going to go across up in the Arctic there, and you're going to get Alaska and come all the way down the coast. And you can either stop in Vancouver. They got 18 nights, savings up to $8,000 US, 46 free excursions, or you can continue on a little farther and go to San Francisco for 23 nights. And again, savings up to $7,000 US and up to 73 free excursions.
Wow, that'd be
again, some great value with these luxury guys. And again, like you say, value is there when you really look at everything like that.
That'd be a cool cruise, though. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Actually, I had a client who did one with Carnival, which was really cool here just a few months back. He started in Brisbane, and they went up through Southeast Asia, Japan, everything like that, and then over Alaska and all the way down to Vancouver. It's a 31-day one.
Nice.
Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We have to talk about groups, 10 plus again, Scenic Eclipse, boutique yacht ships, one-share groups, $1,000 per person savings on your best group itinerary and pricing. And cool thing about these is to remember they're the ones that have helicopter tours you can do right off the ship on some of their sailings.
That'd be fun.
Again, we talked a lot about groups or whatever. Again, good way to get, it doesn't take long to get, 10 people. Away you go. Have a great time.
Exactly.
Reminder, you still have a couple of weeks left for Air Canada vacations. New Sun bookings for Sun destinations going to save you up to $250 a person. So a family of 4 like yourself, that's $1,000 on select vacations. Lots to choose from. Air Canada vacations, you always own your Aeroplan points if you're an Aeroplan member. So again, like you get those savings, plus you get your Aeroplan points. And sometimes on some of their packages and stuff, there's even some extra bonus Aeroplan points if you're a member of our travel club.
Nice.
And again, that's free to do. Or maybe you've got a bunch of your own Aeroplan points that you've accumulated. We can look after all that for you. All we need you to do is just convert them into an Air Canada gift card. Give us those numbers, and we can apply as much as you want for any Air Canada vacation package, including the full amount if you have enough.
Cool. For
Sun destinations, Europe cruises, or anywhere that they have packages.
Nice.
Again, reminder now, too, sales have been really, really strong. We're into what they consider the spring-fall season, but if you didn't get away this past fall or winter, start looking at your getaway for 2025. So all the suppliers resorts have got everything all loaded for all the Sun destinations right up until next April. So get ready for that fall-winter season. Some of the dates, Christmas, New Year's, Family Day, Spring break, Easter is late in April next year, and some resorts are getting sold out or have very limited availability. So give us a call. Let's have a discussion.
Yeah, start planning now. Never too early.
Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines wants to take you to Alaska. Speaking of Alaska again, we got sailings in 2025 from both Seattle and or Vancouver, depending on which sailing you want to do. They've got 4 ships, including now the fabulous Anthem of the Seas. With so much to do on board, you might forget to leave the ship. And again, savings up to 60% off your second guest, and the kids sail free, which is a really good idea. Save those money on those kiddos. And if you get a bit more time, then add a cruise tour. Maybe spend some time right in the heartland of Alaska, with prices starting at $759 a person for an inside cabin.
Ooh, that's good.
That's really cheap.
For
That's
Alaska,
really cheap. Yeah. So now's a good time to have that conversation with yourself and with us.
Mm-hmm.
Viking Ocean Sailings. I've got a couple of exotics, South America and or the Amazon. I've got a client doing an Amazon in January, so it'll be interesting to see how he feels about that one. He's a real good cruiser, so he's pretty particular. And they also have down under, so Australia, New Zealand, or Australia and Bali.
Ooh.
Reduced or free airfares in these special sailing rates, and only a $25 deposit.
There you go. Put your deposit down, then you've got your room
Locked
booked
in.
yeah, and then you can worry about paying it later.
Exactly. And speaking of pricing and everything like that, just remember online pricing is almost always identical to what an agent can find for you. We've been doing that a lot with people lately. Expedia is a really good example. If you're comfortable booking Expedia, let us book it. One, yes, we make a little bit of money, but the second thing is that we got your back if you have any issues or anything like that, because there's a separate line that we can call and help you get looked after. And essentially anything online, you're really booking with a travel agent in that sense, but you've got no personalized service, tough to have conversations, looking after everything by yourself.
Well, questions always come up, right? After you've booked something, you go, oh, what about this? What about that? And it's always good just to pick up the phone and call someone like yourself, and you're there to answer that question.
You betcha. We're going to get you looked after.
And what is that number?
In Calgary, it's 403-241-7140. And if you're outside Calgary, you can call us toll-free at 1-877-511-5511, and you too can relax. It's all taken care of.
Indeed, sir.
Have a great week and have a great Father's Day.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.